So I love my truck. I drove a piece of crap for a long time, so this is my baby. And scratches happen. Now this one was caused by Avery trying to lift one of these 5-pound rocks into my bed and decided to drag it up the side. I gotta fix that a different way. But he also did this somehow. I don't know how, that's different. And then there's some scuffs here on my door. Now these should be pretty easy to take care of. So for the lighter scratches, going to use a cloth and polishing compound, and that's it. Put it on, rub it in, let it get hazy. Don't leave it on too long, just enough to dry out, just a little bit. And then simply buff it off. And voila, scratches are gone. That one's easy. I got some on the passenger side too. I don't want to tell you where those came from, but they are gone. Okay. Polishing compound. Now you could wax it too on top if you want. So those are easy to fix. Now, this one is a little different. It's a little bit more of a scratch, not just a slight scratch. As you can see, there's a lot to it. But you can still get that out by hand, very simply. But this time, 2 stages, rubbing compound first, and then polishing compound. So you gotta take your rubbing compound, shake it up real good. And once again, you just rub it in by hand. Rub it in real good. What you're actually doing is filling in that scratch, and the rubbing compound is actually scuffing up the paint just a little bit. You can still see the scratch right there. Okay. So you let it dry a little bit, and then once again, you buff it out. Same way. Okay. As you can see, the scratch is still there, but it's better. It's much better. So next we're going to try the rubbing compound, the polishing compound on top. See if it takes it out all the way. And again, you let it get a haze and simply buff. Now, the scratch is not gone. Uh-oh. What am I going to do? Crap. Well, I'm going to show you. Still not gone. So it's actually good enough for me. You can barely see it, especially when you're kind of away from it. You can't see it. It's a good, 10-foot paint job. Looks good from 10 feet away. So when I go to fix this, I'll do that one at the same time, and I'll show you what to do next.
Great.
All right, so the next part, we're going to do this scratch. So you're going to start off with some rubbing alcohol, cloth, and clean it up. Next, you got this paint pen here that you get from your dealer with your paint code, but it has this tip. You're going to use that to scratch out and clean the scratches. Get everything out. And then rubbing alcohol again to clean it out. And you shake the shit out of the pen for a good 30 seconds, especially if you have a metallic paint like mine. Mine's metallic, so you really gotta shake it up. Then you pop the tip off. Use the pen part on these small scratches. You just paint it in. Now you want to get it over the surface, so higher than the surface level of the existing paint. You'll see why in a little bit. But you just paint it on The harder you press, the more paint that comes out. Just paint all the areas that are showing bare metal. The light scratches are easy. It's the deep ones. The deep ones are going to require more paint. In fact, you'll have to do it probably at least twice, because when it dries, the paint's going to shrink. Okay. There you go. Looking like shit. And you got to wait at least 30 minutes for it to dry. And while we're waiting on that to dry, we're going to go ahead and fix that one that wouldn't buff out. So what you're going to do is get you some wet sandpaper, 2000 grit, a little bit of water, and just lightly sand. Let the sandpaper do the work. Don't grind into it. Watch your edges, because you can take the paint completely off the edge. Okay. And there's another one down here. I'm going to take care of that one. All right, now wipe it down. You'll notice that it is now hazy, where you've basically taken the clear coat and sanded it. That one is probably not going to buff out. I may have to touch that one up. But you'll see the swirl marks from the 2000 grit. So next, you're gonna take 3000 grit and go over it. 3000 is going to smooth over the 2000 sand marks. So next step, after you do a little wet sanding, you're going to go with the rubbing compound first. You're going to further take down the scratches that the 3000 grit laid with rubbing compound and a buffer. And then again, you just buff it off with the towel.
You know, the normal thing what you do is kiss the boo-boo, make it better.
Oh, you want to kiss my ass?
No, I'm gonna kiss your boo-boo.
Oh, he's brought plenty of boo-boos for me. What are you doing, honey?
Trying to fix these damn scratches on my truck.
Okay.
And then next, and then after you use the rubbing compound and buff it out, you're then going to do the polishing compound. Different pad, very important, different pad. And then you buff that out. Final stage is wax and buff. After the paint has dried, you're gonna take a sponge, put some 2000 grit over it, wet sand. Just wet sand it, get it smooth. So what you're doing is you're sanding down the high spots of the paint. So you wanna make sure it's smooth, which these all pretty much appear to be. Here on the edge is very difficult. I'm gonna have to leave that because it's right on the edge and I don't wanna sand all the paint off. Well, that one's still, you can see the high spot on that one. So I gotta sand a little bit more. And then once you're done, feel for high spots. It's not too bad. But this one, oh my God, I fucked it up. Look at my clear coat. Some of them, like I said, they're so deep, you have to put 2 layers of paint in it. Otherwise, the rest of them are pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so I'll put another coat probably on this one. Yeah, we should be good from there. Now, after you have sanded it down again, and it's nice and flat, clean it with some alcohol. Get all the contaminants off, finger oil. And then you're gonna get your paint pen again. And on the bottom is clear coat. So you're just gonna paint the clear coat over all the little areas that you put in paint. Now, once the clear coat dries, you're going to wet sand again. Now, after you've wet sanded, you're gonna be left with what looks like total absolute shit. Just pure crap. I mean, look at that shit. Damn it. Now what do I do? Well, tell you. Rubbing compound, polishing compound. Buff between, and I'll show you the results. So this is a finished product, and I'm not too thrilled about it. That, for the most part, came out. That one scratch came out, but I need to do some more rubbing compound. You can still see the fine scratches. But the scratches, for one thing, the paint doesn't exactly match up. The replacement is darker. Now, wet sanded, and it looks all right, but the clear coat, I shook it too much, so there are bubbles in it. That was stupid of me. But for the most part, it's a 10-foot paint job. But I'm gonna fix that. All right, so it's day 2. So I went back, did some wet sanding, more polishing, and there you have it. It's a little bit better. Not quite 100, but look, much better. Could probably stand a little bit more wet sanding now that I look at it, but I mean, compared to yesterday, I mean, that's pretty damn good. Yes, I can fix this by scratching it out and then reapplying the paint, but it's just, it's hard work. And considering this looks pretty damn good for what was there, maybe I'll do it another day, but that's it.